Deep in the jungle, people lost to time, deep in the heart of the world's most remote jungles. Live tribes so mysterious, few outsiders have ever seen them. These are the unreal humans, people untouched by modern life, living in harmony with nature in ways you won't believe still exist. It's spiritual welfare, a responsibility that requires constant vigilance and ceremonial maintenance. During traditional ceremonies, Kogi communities gather in their thatched meeting houses where white robes create visual unity that reinforces their collective identity as guardians of universal balance. Their ritual activities include offerings, chants, and sacred dances that maintain the spiritual relationships essential for planetary survival. Yet, in the cloud forests where morning mist mingles with sacred smoke and white robes move like spirits through landscapes they consider the universe's beating heart, the Kogi continue their ancient responsibility for maintaining the cosmic balance that keeps the world alive. Wunan. Through the dense rainforests of Colombia and Panama's Darien province, where rivers wind like silver threads through green tapestries and jungle sounds create symphonies that never cease, the Wunan people have built communities famous for artistic traditions that transform everyday survival into celebrations of color, pattern, and the intricate beauty that emerges from patient hands working in harmony with forest rhythms. The Wunan women are master weavers whose brightly colored dresses showcase textile traditions that rival any in the Americas for their sophistication and beauty. Their clothing displays geometric patterns worked in brilliant hues that seem to capture the forest's living energy, with designs that honor both practical needs and aesthetic ambitions. Their legendary basketry represents perhaps the finest example of this art form in all of Central America, with coiled constructions so perfectly executed they can hold water. These baskets, woven from native plant fibers and decorated with natural dyes, serve both utilitarian and ceremonial functions while demonstrating craftsmanship that requires years to master. Wunan beadwork transforms simple glass beads into elaborate jewelry that cascades from necks and arms like frozen waterfalls of color. Their beading patterns incorporate traditional designs that speak of cultural identity while adapting to contemporary materials that allow for new expressions of ancient aesthetic principles. Their villages along jungle rivers maintain architectural harmony with forest environments, their traditional homes raised on stilts to accommodate seasonal flooding, while providing spaces for the patient artistic work that occupies much of community life. The Wunan relationship with their forest environment extends beyond mere resource extraction to encompass sophisticated understanding of ecological relationships that support both human communities and the biodiversity essential for rainforest health. Their hunting, fishing, and gathering practices demonstrate sustainable approaches refined across generations. Their festival traditions transform jungle clearings into galleries of living art, where traditional dresses create moving displays of color and pattern, while ceremonial dances preserve cultural knowledge about forest spirits, seasonal cycles, and the proper relationships between human communities and the natural world. Yet when dawn breaks over jungle rivers and early light illuminates communities where woven dresses add human artistry to forest beauty, the Wunan continue their ancient practice of transforming survival into art, necessity into celebration, and daily life into expressions of gratitude for the forest's endless generosity. Ngabe Bugli, across the mountainous borderlands where Panama meets Costa Rica, in cloud forests, where morning mist creates landscapes that seem painted by dreams, and steep valleys harbor communities that have maintained their identity despite centuries of outside pressure, the Nyabe Bugle people continue traditions that celebrate both practical wisdom and artistic achievement through textiles that transform everyday clothing into cultural statements. The Nyebe Bugli women wear colorful patterned dresses that showcase weaving traditions adapted to mountain forest conditions while maintaining designs that preserve cultural identity. Their clothing combines practical considerations with artistic ambitions, creating garments that provide comfort in humid mountain conditions while displaying the geometric patterns that connect wearers to ancestral wisdom. Nyebe Bugli villages nestle into mountain locations chosen for both practical advantages and spiritual significance. Their traditional homes built from local materials, using construction techniques that provide protection from mountain weather while maintaining harmony with forest environments. The Nyebe Bugli language preservation efforts maintain linguistic diversity that carries cultural knowledge about forest ecology, traditional medicine, and the spiritual beliefs that guide community life. Their oral traditions preserve historical memory that spans centuries of adaptation and resistance. Embera, through the dense rainforests of Colombia and Panama's Choco region, where precipitation creates some of the world's wettest environments, and rivers serve as highways through green immensity, the Embera people have adapted their traditional ways to contemporary realities while maintaining cultural practices that celebrate both artistic achievement and practical wisdom through clothing traditions that blend ancestral designs with modern materials. The contemporary Embera wardrobe reflects successful cultural adaptation, with women wearing blouses and skirts that maintain traditional aesthetic principles while accommodating contemporary materials and changing social conditions. Their clothing demonstrates how indigenous communities can preserve cultural identity while embracing practical changes. Their decorative beadwork represents continuity with ancestral artistic traditions, transforming simple materials into elaborate jewelry that serves both aesthetic and cultural functions. These beaded ornaments carry traditional patterns that preserve cultural memory while allowing for contemporary artistic expression. Embera villages along jungle rivers maintain architectural traditions adapted to extreme precipitation and seasonal flooding. Their elevated homes showcasing construction techniques refined across generations of tropical forest living. These structures provide practical solutions for challenging environmental conditions while maintaining social spaces essential for community life. The Embera relationship with their rainforest environment demonstrates sophisticated ecological knowledge that supports both human communities and the biodiversity essential for one of Earth's most complex ecosystems. Their traditional practices include sustainable approaches to hunting, fishing, and forest management. Their musical traditions preserve cultural heritage through songs and instrumental performances that maintain connections to ancestral practices while allowing for contemporary adaptation. Traditional music serves both entertainment and ceremonial functions while preserving linguistic diversity essential for cultural continuity. Dayak, deep within Borneo's ancient rainforests, where rivers wind through landscapes that have witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms, and morning mist carries whispers of headhunting traditions transformed into peaceful ceremonies. The Dayak people maintain some of Southeast Asia's most spectacular traditional costume traditions, their beadwork jackets and feathered headdresses creating visual displays that seem to channel the forest's living spirit. The Dayak traditional beadwork represents perhaps the finest example of this art form. In all of Southeast Asia, with jackets and skirts that showcase geometric patterns worked in brilliant colors that capture the rainforest's vibrant energy. Their beading techniques require years to master, creating garments that serve both ceremonial and cultural functions. Their magnificent feathered headdresses transform wearers into living sculptures that honor the forest birds whose plumes create these spectacular displays. These headdresses, worn during traditional ceremonies, represent spiritual connections to the forest creatures whose beauty and power the Dayak seek to embody through ritual performance. Dayak villages along Borneo's great rivers maintain architectural traditions adapted to tropical forest conditions. Their traditional longhouses showcasing construction techniques that provide communal living spaces while maintaining harmony with rainforest environments. These structures demonstrate sophisticated understanding of tropical building requirements. The Dayak spiritual traditions integrate animist beliefs with practical forest knowledge, treating the rainforest as a living entity inhabited by spirits that require proper respect and ceremonial attention. Their traditional practices include elaborate rituals that maintain spiritual relationships essential for community welfare. Their traditional tattoo practices transform the human body into a canvas for spiritual protection and cultural identity, with designs that carry meanings related to spiritual power, social status, and connections to ancestral traditions. These tattoos serve both aesthetic and spiritual functions. During major festivals, Dayak communities transform jungle clearings into ceremonial grounds where traditional costumes create visual spectacles that seem to bring the forest's spiritual forces into human form. These celebrations preserve cultural traditions while demonstrating remarkable artistic achievement. Yet when tropical dawn illuminates longhouse communities and traditional beadwork catches early light like captured rainbows, the Dayak continue their ancient practice of creating beauty that honors both human creativity and the forest spirits that inspire their most spectacular artistic achievements. Mentawai, on the remote islands of Sumatra's western coast, where surf crashes against beaches backed by primary rainforest and isolation, has preserved one of Indonesia's most distinct indigenous cultures. The Mentawai people maintain traditional practices that adapt to contemporary influences while preserving cultural elements that demonstrate remarkable artistic and spiritual sophistication. The Mentawai festival clothing represents successful adaptation of traditional aesthetic principles to contemporary materials and social conditions. During ceremonial occasions, community members wear shirts and skirts that maintain cultural identity while accommodating practical requirements of modern island life. Their traditional body decoration practices, including elaborate tattoo traditions and teeth-sharpening customs, preserve cultural markers that distinguish Mentawai identity while adapting to contemporary social pressures that require flexibility in cultural expression. Mentawai villages on jungle-covered islands maintain architectural traditions adapted to tropical island conditions. Their traditional homes showcasing construction techniques that provide protection from monsoon weather while maintaining ventilation essential for comfort in humid coastal forests. The Mentawai spiritual traditions center around shamanic practices that treat illness and misfortune as spiritual problems requiring ceremonial intervention. Their traditional healers, known as keri, maintain knowledge of plant medicines and ritual practices essential for community health and spiritual welfare. Their traditional hunting and gathering practices demonstrate sophisticated understanding of island ecology, with sustainable approaches to resource use that maintain both human communities and the biodiversity essential for island ecosystem health. During traditional ceremonies, Mentawai communities gather in forest clearings where festival clothing creates visual displays that preserve cultural identity while allowing for contemporary adaptation. These celebrations maintain connections to ancestral practices while accommodating changing social conditions. Yet when dawn breaks over island forests and early light illuminates communities where traditional and contemporary elements blend in daily life, the Mentawai continue their adaptive approach to cultural preservation that demonstrates how island communities can maintain identity while embracing necessary change. Karen, through the mountainous borderlands where Thailand meets Myanmar, in villages nestled among jungle-covered peaks where morning mist rises like prayers and traditional ways persist despite political pressures that have scattered communities across national boundaries, the Karen people maintain textile traditions that transform practical clothing into artistic statements about cultural identity and spiritual belief. The Karen women are master weavers, whose traditional tunics and blouses showcase textile techniques refined across generations of mountain forest living. Their clothing combines practical requirements for jungle conditions with artistic ambitions that create garments of remarkable beauty and cultural significance. Their weaving traditions incorporate natural dyes extracted from forest plants, creating color palettes that seem to capture the jungle's living essence while demonstrating sophisticated understanding of plant chemistry and fiber arts. These textiles serve both practical and ceremonial functions. Karen villages in jungle clearings maintain architectural harmony with forest environments, their traditional bamboo and wood construction providing practical solutions for tropical mountain conditions while creating community spaces essential for social cohesion and cultural preservation. Yet when morning light filters through jungle canopy and illuminates villages where traditional textiles add human artistry to natural beauty, the Karen continue their patient work of maintaining cultural traditions that demonstrate remarkable resilience in the face of political uncertainty and environmental challenge. Lahu, across the remote mountain forests that stretch through Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar, where peaks pierce tropical skies and jungle-covered slopes, harbor communities that maintain traditional ways despite the political complexities that characterize this border region. The Lahu people preserve textile traditions that celebrate both practical wisdom and artistic achievement through clothing that honors cultural identity while providing protection in challenging mountain environments. The Lahu women create embroidered jackets and blouses that showcase needlework techniques refined across generations of mountain living. Their clothing demonstrates sophisticated understanding of both practical requirements for jungle conditions and aesthetic principles that transform everyday garments into expressions of cultural pride. Their traditional textiles incorporate intricate embroidered patterns that carry cultural meanings related to spiritual protection, clan identity, and connections to ancestral traditions. These designs require exceptional skill to execute, representing artistic achievements that can occupy months of concentrated work. Lahu villages perched on mountain ridges maintain architectural traditions adapted to tropical highland conditions. Their traditional homes providing protection from monsoon weather, while creating spaces for the textile work that occupies central positions in community life. Yet when dawn breaks over jungle-covered peaks and early light illuminates communities where embroidered jackets catch morning sunshine like wearable gardens, the Lahu continue their ancient practice of creating beauty. that honors both human creativity and the mountain forests that have shaped their civilization. Hmong, across the remote highlands of Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand, where mist rolls through jungle mountains, the Hmong people keep alive some of Southeast Asia's most dazzling textile traditions. Their embroidered skirts and silver jewelry turn villages into living galleries of color and craft. Hmong women are famed for embroidery that transforms cloth into art, stitching geometric and floral motifs with mathematical precision and creative flair. Their silver jewelry, heavy with meaning, shines as both wealth and cultural identity, crafted by master hands. Highland villages reflect mountain life, with homes designed for protection and space to nurture generations of artistic skill. Oral traditions carry migration stories across continents, keeping memory alive through song and epic tale. Ifugao in the Cordillera Mountains of the Philippines. The Ifugao live among legendary rice terraces that rise like stairways to the sky. Their clothing and festivals honor both ancestors and the land, blending practicality with ceremonial grandeur. Festival garments, woven skirts, tops, and costumes display geometric designs that echo sacred knowledge. Weaving here is more than craft. It is a discipline that turns cloth into heritage. Their villages, perched among terraces, balance architecture with mountain landscapes, creating homes that protect and preserve community. Festivals link agriculture with culture, celebrating harvests while strengthening identity and tradition. So if these voices moved you, if these jungle cathedrals felt sacred even through a screen, then help us carry their wisdom forward, like the video. Share it with those who've never seen how human creativity can flourish in Earth's most challenging environments. Comment with the peoples and places you want remembered. And subscribe because these stories are far from over. The jungles are still breathing. The patterns still speak of cosmic mysteries. And together, we can ensure someone is listening to the whispers of those who transformed impossible forests into homes, survival into art, and daily necessity into celebrations of beauty that honor both human creativity and the living world that sustains us all. These are the unreal humans, living proof that harmony with nature still exists. If you enjoyed this journey into the wild, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Your support helps us bring more hidden stories from around the world to life.